Hello everyone. Today we'll have a new lesson about programming languages. Start at letter B. B. B is a programming language developed at Bell Labs circa 1969. It is the work of Ken Thompson with Dennis Ritchie. B was derived from BCPL and its name may be a contraction of BCPL. Thompson's co-worker Dennis Ritchie speculated that the name might be based on Bon, an earlier but unrelated programming language that Thompson designed for use on Multics. B was designed for recursive, non-numeric, machine-independent applications such as system and language software. It is a typeless language, with the only data type being the underlying machine's natural memory word format. Whatever that might be, depending on the context, the word was treated either as an integer or a memory address. Babbage. Babbage is the high-level assembly language for the GSC 4000 series mini-computers. It was named after Charles Babbage, an English computing pioneer. Ballerina. Ballerina is an open-source general-purpose programming language and platform designed by WSO2 for cloud-era application programmers. It is easy to write and modify and is suitable for application programmers. It is an open-source project started in 2015 by architects from WSO2 as a code-based alternative to the configuration-based integration tools such as EAI, ESB, and workflow products. It has various constructs geared toward cloud-native development, including support for modern data formats and protocols, reliability, distributed transactions, APIs, and event stream. Bash. Bash is a Unix shell and command language written by Brian Fox for the GNU project as a free software replacement for the Bourne shell. First released in 1989, it has been used as the default plug-in shell for most Linux distributions and all releases of Apple's macOS prior to macOS Catalina. A version is also available for Windows 10 via the Windows subsystem for Linux. It is also the default user shell in Solaris 11. Basic. Basic, or Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code, is a family of general-purpose high-level programming languages whose design philosophy emphasizes ease of use. The original version was designed by John G. Kemeny and Thomas E. Kurtz and released at Dartmouth College in 1964. They wanted to enable students in fields other than science and mathematics to use computers. Batch file for Windows or MS-DOS. A batch file is a script file in DOS or DOS, OS2 in Microsoft Windows. It consists of a series of commands to be executed by the command line interpreter stored in a plain text file. A batch file may contain any command the interpreter accepts interactively and use constructs that enable conditional branching and looping within the batch file such as if, for, and goto labels. The term batch is from batch processing, meaning non-interactive execution, though a batch file may not process a batch of multiple data. BC. BC, for Basic Calculator, often referred to as Bench Calculator, is an arbitrary precision calculator language with syntax similar to the C programming language. BC is typically used as either a mathematical scripting language or as an interactive mathematical shell. BCPL. BCPL or Basic Combined Programming Language is a procedural, imperative, and structured programming language. Originally intended for writing compilers for other languages, BCPL is no longer in common use. However, its influence is still felt because a stripped-down and syntactically changed version of BCPL called P was the language on which the C programming language was based. BCPL introduced several features of many modern programming languages, including using curly braces to delimit code blocks. BCPL was first implemented by Martin Richards of the University of Cambridge in 1967. Bean Shell. Bean Shell is a Java-like scripting language invented by Patrick Niemeyer. It runs in the Java Runtime Environment or JRE and uses a variation of the Java syntax in addition to scripting commands and syntax. Bertrand. Bertrand, named after Bertrand Russell, is a computer programming language for creating constrained programming systems. The language was created by W. M. Leller in the mid-1980s as part of his doctoral research. Bertrand has a declarative programming syntax and differentiates itself from other programming languages by use of a technique called augmented term rewriting. Beta. Beta is a pure object-oriented language originating within the Scandinavian school in object orientation, where the first object-oriented language Simula was developed. Among its notable features, it introduced nested classes and unified classes with procedures into so-called patterns. The project is inactive as of October 2020. Blitz. Blitz is a system programming language developed at Carnegie Mellon University by W. A. Wolf, D. B. Rosette, and A. N. Haberman around 1970. It is perhaps the best-known systems programming language right up until C made its debut a few years later. Blitz is a typeless block-structured language based on expressions rather than statements and includes constructs for exception handling, coroutines, and macros. It does not include a goto statement. The name is variously said to be short for Basic Language for Implementation of System Software or System Software Implementation Language backwards. It was sometimes called Bill's Language for Implementing System Software after Bill Wolf. Blackly. Blackly is a client-side library for the programming language JavaScript for creating block-based visual programming languages or BPLs and editors. It is a project of Google and is free and open source software released under the Apache License 2.0. It typically runs in a web browser and visually resembles the language Scratch. Blackly is also being implemented for the mobile operating systems Android and iOS, though not all web browser-based features are available for this. Blackly uses visual blocks that link together to make writing code easier and can generate code in JavaScript, Lua, Dart, Python, or PHP. It can also be customized to generate code in any text or programming language. Bloop. Bloop and Floop are simple programming languages designed by Douglas Hofstadter to illustrate a point in his book Gödel Escherbach. Bloop is a non-Turing complete programming language whose main control flow structure is a bounded loop, like recursion is not permitted. All programs in the language must terminate, and this language can only express primitive recursive functions. Loop is identical to Bloop except that it supports unbounded loops. It is a Turing-complete language and can express all computable functions. Bloop and Floop can be regarded as models of computation and have sometimes been used in teaching computability. Boo. Boo is an object-oriented, statically typed, general-purpose programming language that seeks to make use of the common language infrastructure's support for Unicode, internalization, and web application, while using a Python-inspired syntax and a special focus on language and compiler extensibility. Some features of note include type inference, generators, multi-methods, optional doc typing, macros, true closures, querying, and first-class functions. Boo was one of the three scripting languages for the Unity game engine, a Unity technology employed by De Oliveira, until it was dropped in 2014 due to small superbits. Despite official support for BooND, the language could still be used in Unity until the Boo compiler was removed from the engine in 2017. Boo is a free software release under the BSD 3 Clause license. It is compatible with the Microsoft .NET and Mono frameworks. Boomerang. Boomerang is a programming language for writing lenses, well-behaved bidirectional transformations that operate on ad hoc textual data formats. Boomerang grew out of the Harmony generic data synchronizer, which grew out of the Unison file synchronization project. Bosque. Bosque is a free and open source programming language developed by Microsoft that was inspired by the syntax and types of TypeScript and the semantics of ML in Node or JavaScript. Design goals for the language include better software quality and improved developer productivity. Thank you for watching. That's all for the discussion about programming languages that start with letter B. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.